Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you're watching the show anywhere else but within our private Facebook community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, definitely come check us out. We'd definitely love to have you. That group was put together specifically for coaches, consultants, and service providers who are serious about getting up to that 6 and that 7-figure level. So that's you. Definitely come check us out. So today I want to introduce you to one of the members of the community, Kate. Welcome, Kate.
Hi, welcome. Thank you for asking me. Really pleased to be here.
Awesome. You're welcome. So Kate, tell us, what is it that you do?
So I was just explaining to you, I have a few different hats, but my main business is I'm a dating and relationship coach, mainly for single women. I occasionally do work with men as well. So I launched this business 5 years ago. It was initially a very part-time kind of hobby business. And then I had a series of life events, which meant that I had to very quickly make my main income from this business 2 years ago, nearly 3 years ago now, actually. And I took my business online, and I really committed at that point to this business. And yeah, so I've been doing that ever since. But I also do sales training, and I have a coach training program as well now for people who want to train to become a love coach. So those are the things that I do.
Yeah, awesome. So your first, was that your first journey into entrepreneurship when you started your love coaching business?
No, it wasn't actually. I had a business before, around 10 years ago. So I worked, before I did this whole thing, I worked in film and TV and media. And I worked in that industry for 15 years. And I did have my own business. I launched an ad agency. And I did that very unsuccessfully, actually, for 2 years. And I made literally no money, and I made every business mistake that you could possibly make. And at that time, it's really interesting because the main thing that was missing was sales. I hated doing sales. I had a terrible fear of getting on the phone and speaking to clients. And so I had a lot of avoidance around that activity. So that business, actually, in the end, I had to just close that business because it was a bit of a disaster. So yeah, so it's an interesting story because actually from there, I then started again from scratch, completely in a different niche business. And the one thing I did was this time around, I made sure I got really good at sales, and I had to really work through my fear of talking to new clients. So that was the big shift I made, and it really paid off. So I went from starting up to 30K a year turnover in my first 2 years of business. And then the following year, I went to 300K turnover. And that was 100% from finding a good sales coach and really learning the art of selling high ticket and taking my business online and some other stuff. So yeah, it's a good story. It's a fun story for anyone out there who hates sales. I absolutely love sales now. It's my favorite thing. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's so important because I know most entrepreneurs, really most coaches, consultants, especially just getting started, there's just a big fear about just the selling part of it. And most people feel like selling is it's slimy, it's icky, it's this thing that it's this manipulative thing versus my perspective of sales. It's really helping someone make a decision, helping someone to really like make a transformation in their lives, really for helping them do something that's good for them, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's something a lot of coaches don't really think about, right? And it's something I didn't really think about when I started coaching. In a way, I suppose I thought, well, I'll do coaching because then I don't really have to do sales, right? And then it's like, wrong. You still need clients. So it's like, oh shit, okay, I can't avoid this. So I know a lot of coaches really struggle with the sales part. Like you said, even the word sales, it's like it has all that connotation with it. And you know, the way I was trained in sales, and I've invested a lot in myself in terms of getting coaching around my business and helping me to move through those blocks and those fears. But you know, you can make sales fun for sure, and it's really about connecting, and it's about understanding, like you said, that we're helping people to change their lives, right? As coaches and consultants, there shouldn't be any resistance to enrolling people into your program. So just changing the perspective can change can change a lot, I think. Just a step one, really, in terms of that whole process. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Love it, love it. So next question becomes so you said you got when it comes to sales, so you got really really good at selling as well too, and now you became a love coach, and you also now certify others in becoming love coaches as well too, right?
Yes, that's
Hmm.
correct.
So
Yeah.
how did that come about?
Well, it's interesting because, a lot of my clients come to me and, they are really fixated on this idea of, they want to get the guy, you know what I mean? They can't find that man and they're like obsessed with this whole thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. And, I am a love and relationship coach, right? So that is my business, is about helping women to find, attract and keep the right partner for them, whether that's male or female. But the interesting thing about the process, because it's quite a deep piece of work that I do with people, and we do lots of work around purpose and manifestation and deep inner transformational work. And so a lot of my clients found that it's a 12-week program. Around halfway through, they were having these like spiritual awakenings just about their whole life. And they were really getting in touch with their purpose and thinking, actually, yeah, I want to meet a guy, but like, it's not the be all and end all anymore, right? Actually, like, now I'm falling in love with myself. How can I serve the world, right? So that's very much what I'm about. And I think that's been part of my journey, is moving away from focusing on the external, like, when I get the guy, when I get the money, when I get the car, I'm going to be fixed, I'm going to be happy. I was personally a little bit disappointed when I hit all those milestones and found, like, yeah, I'm happy, but it's like, it's not giving me the thing I thought it would give me, right? Because that has to come from inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went through that journey myself, and now I really take women, through that journey, that personal journey, the biggest gift of all is purpose, I think, from my own journey, and the satisfaction and the feeling I get from seeing someone really get in touch with their dream, right? And then start to believe it can happen, and then to see it actually happen, like, for me, that's amazing. So a lot of my clients, I think, through the process, they started to say to me, look, I want to change my career, and I want to train to do what you do. Like, I can see how much it lights you up. I can see, like, how satisfying it is. And so it actually came that way. Like, they were asking me to train them, and I delayed it for a while because I knew it was going to be a lot of work, and a whole new offer is a big thing. But actually, it's been really fun, and it's been amazing. We just started a few weeks ago. And yeah, it's been amazing. And actually, it's been already transforming my business, because these women are now mentoring some of the new women that come in, and they're training them, and it's just creating better results for everybody. So it's like, yeah, and it's growing, it's like a tribe is happening, and it's just women who love themselves, and it's just amazing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been a really exciting, like, evolution of the business, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Business evolution is so fascinating. I love it. I love hearing these stories as well too. So now I guess even back before, let's shift a bit before now, because I know most of the listeners, a lot of them, they have some advice, they have some way they could help, right? Just like you said, you start off with whether it's a love coach, and you just realize that's something you were passionate about, you were good at, and you decide to start a business around helping others with that. So how did that journey happen for you? Was it something you just knew that you were going to just do? How did you figure out that you could actually build a business out of it?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's interesting because actually I didn't ever really sit down and think, okay, I'm going to be a love coach. It sort of chose me in a strange way, because actually I initially my training was in corporate and executive coaching, because in film and TV I did a lot of management work, and I thought that would be a good transition across into leadership, performance, conflict, that kind of side of things. So that's what that was my plan, and I went and trained to do that. And while I was training, you have to do so many kind of free hours of coaching, and I was like always looking for people. Hey, do you want me to coach you? And a lot of business women, but they were all like one after the other. They're like, no, I don't want to talk about that. Can you help me with my love life? So I'm thinking, this is really strange. So it just was one after the other. And actually, by the time I finished my training, I already had a love coaching business, which just kind of evolved. And yeah, like, I think what happened as well, a couple of the women that I was coaching, they were seeing really good results. They were
Mm-hmm.
like getting engaged, getting married, and they're telling their friends and stuff. So obviously that creates like momentum. And actually when I finished my training, I had to kind of decide, well, you know, I have this business already. It seems crazy to just now switch and do, you know, corporate work, because actually this is already, you know, they're paying me and it's happening and they're getting results. So yeah, it's an interesting story. And I think also for me on a personal level, you know, my parents separated when I was 2, and um, you know, there was a lot of conflict in my childhood. In my family, generally, there's a lot of divorce, and so I think it was always, for me personally, something that I was fascinated by and wanting to seek answers around, like why do relationships fail? Uh, why is there not enough love in the world as well, right? And then realizing the whole journey of self-love and how important that is, because that's been a big piece of my own personal evolution and, you know, my own personal work. So it made perfect sense in the end that that's what I ended up doing, if that makes sense. So yeah, it was really interesting the way that came about, actually.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's so fascinating to understand as well, too, right? Because I know a lot of the listeners, some of them, they're like, here's what I want to do, right? So they set out to say, well, this is how I want to help. And then they go so much and just focus on them, and how they want to help, that they kind of miss a big opportunity, which is like, what are people asking you about? And it seems like you kind of figured that out, right? So you said, I want to help this way. But then the feedback you got was like, they were asking like, let's talk about my love life. Let's talk about this, right? And you saw that. You didn't say, well, no, I don't want to do that. And let me just keep trying to do that thing. But you actually took it and said, well, let me go explore that, right? Let me see what could come out of it. And boom, here you are. You've created a lot of success for yourself. And I believe that that's so important, because most people they try to plan success. I
Yeah,
realize success, one of the best ways I've heard it described is success is really just taking the next step, which is doing what's in front of you, and something will open, but you're never sure what that thing is. And your job is to be able to be smart enough to know that, hey, explore it, take it out, see where it's going to go, because that might lead to your next success, right?
absolutely. It's a great point. And I think that flexibility and exploration and spontaneity is very much part of being an entrepreneur, being a successful entrepreneur, and being open-minded and, you know, willing to, like you said, try things, explore stuff. You know, when we get too fixated or fixed on one plan and I'm going to do it this way, I think you can be in for a really bumpy ride. And actually, the reason my first business failed in a way was that reason. I was very like fixed and very stubborn and like, this is what I want to do. And, you know, I'm not doing anything else. And it just wasn't working, you know, and it ate a lot of my money and time. And, you know, it was all good lessons to learn. But looking back, yeah, it was the willingness to, because I think there's a lot of fear sometimes, right, about the unknown. And we have a plan. And when we stray from that, we have to manage our anxiety. We have to just be open to whatever is going to happen next, and that can be challenging, you know, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But that's for me absolutely been where the biggest rewards have been in my journey as an entrepreneur, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it's so fast. I love hearing your story, because this is really what excites me, because I know that with everyone, just like with even COVID-19 happening today, where everyone is like being downsized, losing jobs, all these different things, and really what they did was like manual labor type jobs, right? But there's a whole industry, a whole category of individuals who we've learned how to use our knowledge, skills that we've got, things that we're good at, and build businesses from that. And it's always fascinating, because my belief is that everyone has some advice. Everyone has a way they can help through some advice, and they can build a business out of it. Just like with one of my clients, he helps people overcome anxiety, and he's at 30 grand per month right now, just helping people solve a simple problem as anxiety, although it's a big problem, but something as like anxiety, right? And for me,
Yeah.
there's just so many of these, like the world needs a lot more individuals like what we do. So in essence, with yourself right now, what's your big vision now? What's next for you?
Yeah. I mean, I think, as I sort of mentioned and touched on earlier, I think purpose has become more and more a part of my journey. And I think, you know, when you start out as an entrepreneur, it's still important, but obviously, you know, as a startup, you know, you need to put food on the table, right? And like feed your kids and pay your bills, and like that's just a fact, you know. And I think the beauty of getting on a bit with the business, when the business starts growing and you start getting that consistent cash flow and you start to, be able to kind of just stop and think, okay, what is the big vision? Why am I doing this? Like, I don't have to do this anymore. Why am I doing it? And then really connecting with purpose. And I think for me, really, I just want to reach as many people, specifically women, but men as well, as possible, to help them to love themselves, to bring more love into the world, and to create, like I said, this tribe of people that are all kind of helping each other. I think especially now, it's just more needed now than ever with the whole state of the world. And I'm not going to get into politics, obviously, today, but it is tragic and terrible what's going on out there. But at the same time, like you said, I mean, I think it's even more reason that we need people to step up, right? We need leaders to step up and not to collapse into the fear. And when COVID hit, actually, I think everybody had that moment, right, of like, oh my God, like, what does this mean for me? What does this mean for my business? And for a week, I had no calls, I had no one, nothing, and thinking, wow, am I going to have to close? And what's going to happen? And then actually, what I did was get really, really intentional. And I thought, no, like, people out there need me more than ever right now. They're stuck at home, they're in pain, they're lonely. And I actually decided to scale my business at the beginning of COVID. I hired some new staff, I hired a sales team, and I tripled my ad spend. And I just decided, like, we're riding over the top of this wave. And interestingly, through like March and April, we tripled our revenue as a result of that. And I launched these 2 new programs as well. And I guess, yeah, it's fun. It's like, I just feel, for me, it's just about to keep growing and to just to keep helping more and more people, really. That's what lights me up every morning.
Mm-hmm.
What gets me out of bed every day is really seeing results. Like when I get, like I had a message yesterday from a woman, she sent me a picture of her and the new guy she's just met. And, just the celebration was so wonderful because it was all about her and the change she'd made inside and how this was now being reflected in her love life. And she so got the coaching, you know what I mean? It's not just like, oh yeah, I attracted like a rich guy or something like that. No, it was about the emotional connection and her own emotional connection. And, just, she's just so over the moon. And, that for me is just makes everything worthwhile, because it's tough, right? Sometimes being an entrepreneur is not an easy job.
Yeah.
It's scary as hell sometimes. And, things look like they're not working, and, you've got to manage that whole roller coaster ride,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in terms of the big vision, it's just to keep growing, keep helping more people, and yeah, see where that takes us, really.
Yeah. Goodness, I'm back here getting excited about listening to what you do, because I feel like I'm on the same path as well too. Because when you find, and that's really what I believe that that's why most of my clients, my vision for them is to help them make so much money, like they don't have to worry about money anymore, right? And my vision, because I believe that everyone should get to a point of at least $30,000 per month in their business, in a coaching and consultant business. If you're not there, then you're doing something wrong. Not really doing something wrong, but there's a bigger game, right? Because I believe that the place where everyone needs to be, especially if they're coaches and consultants, is they need to be generating so much money that money isn't an issue anymore, right? Because when I look around the marketplace, I still see so many of them are still live. And I think I interviewed someone, and they said, how we say paycheck to paycheck. She said most people live PayPal to PayPal. And I see it so often. And the thing is, for me, if you start a place in your business where you're still just doing it just to generate the income, then you can't really, as you said, live from your purpose. But when you do solve that income goal, which is when you do get to a point where you're making all of this money, or whatever money you probably won't even be spending or whatever, but when you're making all that money, now you could come from a place of just do it out of your passion, just do it out of because it's your purpose. Like, I know for me, a lot of people ask like, what drives me? Like, aren't you gonna buy the houses, the cars, travel, do all these different things? I'm like, not really. And when I think about those things, there's nothing there for me, no emotion, nothing. But what really drives me is finding the best people, right? That's my thing. It's finding the best team and getting us all together and figuring out, okay, what cool stuff can we do? Like, that's really what excites me. And I believe that that's my purpose, because I believe my purpose is to just basically solve the financial problems of coaches and consultants, just solve that, make it to where they don't have to worry about money anymore. But then have a team, and that's our vision. Not just, it started off with me, but now having a team who all have that, and now it's like seeing the great stuff is just, it's just so exciting just to keep getting out there, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
No, absolutely.
love
Yeah.
it, love
Very
it.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about the sales side of stuff with you? So you said you do the coaching, you certify. What about the sales side? What do you do there?
Yeah. Well, I just kind of recently changed my sales process. Actually, I was doing like a one call close kind of format, and then I shifted into doing two calls instead, and changed my marketing around, and then just created, just trying new things. And I also know that sales process with spiritual coaching and love coaching, as opposed to business, can have slightly different challenges, right? There's a lot of psychological pieces in there. And often, for my clients, certainly what I realized in my sales process is my main job is to help them to get beyond their coping strategies and their fears that are keeping them like single and stuck in the first place, right? So it's like the same reason they won't buy at the end of the call is the same reason that's keeping them on their own and in these patterns. And so really, understanding the psychology around that, and understanding how to dismantle that for the person on the call from a place of compassion. That learning that and creating that in my business, it kind of took me from like 20-30% enrollment sale close rate up to about 85% close rate. So and it's a high ticket offer. Mostly it's kind of more or less cold, Facebook ad traffic. They may have seen my webinar, but they don't know me very well. So we've wrapped in a few things, just warming them up a bit more, and giving them some time to think about it in this new kind of two call process. I found worked much better. And then it's interesting, like you said, we have this fixed idea about what we're doing, and then sort of something else emerges. I just started to get a few friends of mine in the coaching business sort of saying, what are you doing to like make all these sales? Because we talk a lot and mentor each other, and this friendship group who are all coaches, and I told them a bit, and they're like, well, can I pay you and you can just teach me, right? Because I need some help. And so that just in a way turned into a new offer, which has just, and then more people just kept asking me, and they are now like referring people to me and stuff like that. So I just kind of started doing that very like organically. It wasn't, again, really something I planned. It was something that I put a lot of time and effort into kind of trying to figure out. And I do actually really enjoy teaching as a thing. And many years ago, I was a tutor for children, and so it's something I enjoy as well. So that's just another thing that's kind of recently emerged in terms of that. So yeah.
Exciting stuff, exciting stuff. Love it, love it. So if someone wanted to connect, what's the best way for them to be able to reach out?
Yeah, sure. So my website is katemansfield.com. So you can reach me there. And my name's Kate Mansfield. I'm based in the UK in London. If you Google me or find my website, it's all on there, all the info. If anyone wants to schedule a free consultation, I offer that. So yeah, it's been really amazing to speak with you, and very honored
Yeah.
that you wanted to speak today. And hopefully someone out there has found it helpful as well, just to hear my story and hear, actually how quickly things can change in business in a positive way. And also, what I would say as a message is like, just don't give up. Entrepreneurial life is hard. And sometimes, I mean, I've gone at times for like 30 calls with potential clients, and they've been like no after no after no after no. And sometimes it's just that way. I've had a whole month before where I've had no sales. And, over time, as we get more consistent, as we get our skills up, we start to get that consistent momentum. And, I'm very grateful today that, the cash flow is good and all of that is good, but it is a learning process. And I would also say, whatever you do, invest in coaching, because for me, that was a complete game changer in my business. Like I needed that help so much to learn sales, to learn just help me make those shortcuts, save a lot of mistakes. and help me to get out of my own way, because I think often we are like our own worst enemies, right? Um, so so yeah, that would be my kind of leaving parting advice for anyone watching who maybe is at the beginning of the journey as well. Just to just keep going. You know, it's absolutely worth it. And I think with the current climate, it's an ideal time actually to go out there and help some people, because there's a lot of people who need help right now. So
Yeah, love it, love it. Awesome, awesome, Kate. Well, and guys, if you're watching this on a live or the replay, I'll be having the links right below or above the video, so you should be able to click through and connect right to Kate as well too. And hey, Kate, again, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it. Do you have any final thoughts before we end?
yeah, just thank you. I'm always grateful for the opportunity to tell my story, and it's lovely to meet you and find out a bit more about what you do as well. And yeah, as I said, anyone wants to connect, please click on the link. And everyone stay positive, because I know there's a lot of negativity out there, and I think you know, it's we have to make the effort, right, to keep our mindset high and our vibration high, and you know, to be leaders, and yeah, help people to see the light and to see the love in the world. So that would be my final words, really. Yeah.
Awesome, love it. Well, hey, be safe out there, and we'll talk soon, okay?